What if I told you that billions of your tax dollars, money taken from your paycheck, simply vanished? That despite record spending on homelessness, people are still dying on American streets while the money meant to help them is nowhere to be found. Well, tonight we're exposing a financial black hole so massive that even the FBI and the IRS have been called in to investigate. But that's only the beginning. What if the government dysfunction that you have witnessed your entire life wasn't incompetence at all, but a deliberate business model? What if the inefficiency wasn't a bug, but a feature? Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency has uncovered something that will shatter your assumptions forever. We have the details. And just like government wastes your tax dollars, power companies are gouging American families with skyrocketing energy bills. Studies show electricity costs have surged up to 60% in just 2 years, a hidden tax on every household in America. That's why thousands of Americans are fighting back with this revolutionary device. It stabilizes electrical flow, reduces dirty electricity, and helps slash your monthly bills by optimizing your home's power usage. Unlike government waste, this is one investment that actually pays for itself. So go to don'twastepower.com for 65% off and start beating the power companies at their own game. You'll find it linked in the description. Okay. I love covering DOGE because there's so much happening that you won't see on the mainstream media, and we have to bring it to your attention. I mean, if you simply just go to the Department of Government Efficiency's own X account, like they're so transparent. They're presenting all the information. I mean, look at this. From April 8th, since January 20th, the U.S. GSA has been working to right the size of federal real estate portfolio, which is liable for more than $20+ billion in deferred maintenance. So far, the team has sold 13 buildings and listed an additional 68. That's 8.3 million square feet. Here's one building. As an example, the U.S. GSA sold a vacant building in Ogden, Utah for $3.6 million, also saving $20 million in deferred maintenance in the city of Ogden. The city is partnering with a private developer to provide the necessary improvements in order to make the asset useful. This building sitting on the books forever, just falling into disrepair, finally identified and sold off. Whistleblowers calling DOGE to investigate and pursue the closure of an entire EEOC. The EEOC is useless and never pursues any cases for victims of discrimination or retaliation. What stupidness is this? More and more workplace discrimination cases are being closed. Freedom Chick posting, open the books on what they've been doing. Corrupt state government drives a lot of corruption in D.C. Marylanders are fed up with a one-party state. A sanctuary state wanting criminal illegal immigrants back in the state is only the tip of the iceberg. Now, check this out. What DOGE has uncovered here. Credit card update just 22 hours ago. The program to audit unused, unneeded credit cards has been expanded to 30 agencies. After 7 weeks, 470,000 cards have been deactivated. As a reminder, at the start of the audit, there were 4.6 million active cards and accounts and still more work to do. Here are the receipts. I know it's hard to read, but there it is. This represents about 10.2% of the total cards deactivated so far, indicating significant progress. What are those cards doing? In the last 2 days, agencies terminated 108 wasteful contracts with a ceiling value of $205 million, a savings of $70 million, including 14,000 HHS contract for an executive transformational leadership training program, and 5.2 million contract to provide strategic advisory and assistance to improve and transform current process and organizational systems. What the hell does that even mean? All I can tell you is that is more savings. Lindell TV posting this, a DOGE moment, $4.6 billion in furniture, 2 million in Social Security, 2 million plus Social Security numbers for non-citizens. Since 2021, agencies spent $4.6 billion on furniture while employees worked remotely, $700,000 for a single SEC conference room. The CDC bought solar-powered picnic tables and nobody used them. Elon Musk saying this, what we're doing to help their benefits legitimate people as a result of the work of DOGE will receive more Social Security, not less. If you recall, Joe Biden last night took to the microphone and tried to scare every Social Security recipient. It's not the case. Listen.
So I'll say the two improvements that we're trying to make to Social Security are helping people that legitimately get benefits, protecting them from fraud that they experience every day on a routine basis, and also make the experience better. And I'll give you one example is at Social Security, one of the first things we learned is that they get phone calls every day of people trying to change direct deposit information. So when you want to change your bank account, you can call Social Security. We learned 40% of the phone calls that they get are from fraudsters. 40%? That's right. Almost half.
Yes, and they steal people's Social Security is what happens. Is they call in, they say they claim to be a retiree, then they convince the Social Security person on the phone to change where the money's flowing. It actually goes to some fraudster. This is happening all day, every day. And then somebody doesn't receive their Social Security. It's because of all the fraud loopholes in the Social Security system.
How do you reassure people that what you all are doing is not going to affect their benefits?
No, in fact, what we're doing will help their benefits. Legitimate people, as a result of the work of DOGE, will receive more Social Security, not less. I want to emphasize that. As a result of the work of DOGE, legitimate recipients of Social Security will receive more money, not less money.
All right.
I want to emphasize that point and let the record show that I said this, and it will be proven out to be true.
I'll say.
Yeah, despite what Joe Biden is telling the American people. Let's keep going. Here's a massive bombshell that just dropped. DOGE exposing a massive cover-up. Biden and the Democrats have been quietly handing out Social Security numbers to illegal asylum seekers 5 months after crossing the border. No interviews and no questions asked. The Democrats turned Social Security into a criminal enterprise, says Kyle Becker. What I found was a legitimate program that was abused. In every benefit program, 1.3 million migrants on Medicaid. DOGE volunteer Antonio Gracias explains the racket.
Ram to it. 1.3 million of them are on Medicaid right now. And we looked at voter rolls and we found that thousands of them are registered to vote in a handful of states. I mean, it is shockingly bad. And this is the tip of the iceberg, guys. We mapped the system from enumeration, so I get your number, all the way to the end, went to the offices and saw how the offices operate. And in that process, one of our engineers found this data called enumeration beyond entry. It had this giant ramp to it. And that just jumped out at us. And we're like, what is that? And so we dug into it. What happened was this program was designed for people that we want to let in, like the CARE program, which is the Afghans. They would be in this number. What jumped out at us wasn't that this is here because it has legitimate use. It's the growth. Why did it grow this fast? That's what we dug into. What we find here is that a legitimate program was, the word I'll use, abused. So they allowed people that were illegals at the border to come in legally. They were giving people at times notices to appear. And what that allows you to do is come in the country and then you schedule a court date, which is like 6 years out. 6 years out is the average, by the way. It could be longer than that. And while you're waiting for your court date, you could fill out an asylum application. Once the application's in, you can file another form, 765, to get a work authorization. Once you get that, you get a 766, and we automatically send you a Social Security card in the mail. No interview at all. That is the majority of the growth you see in these numbers. We found that every benefit program we looked at was being accessed by these people. 1.3 million of them are on Medicaid right now, today. And by the way, it's just ramping, it's just starting. And we looked at voter rolls and we found that thousands of them were registered to vote in a handful of states. And then we went even further with those friendly states and found that many of those people had actually voted. It was shocking to us. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I wouldn't have believed it. And this is the tip of the iceberg. 1.3.
The tip of the iceberg, folks. This is only the beginning. Wow. Okay, let's keep going here. Did you hear about this? On the IRS website, the login button was not at the top right on the nav bar like it is on most websites. It was weirdly placed in the middle of the page below the fold. An IRS engineer explained the soonest this change could be deployed is July 21st, 103 days from now. This engineer worked with the DOGE team to delete the red tape and accomplish the task in 71 minutes before and after pictures. There are great people at the IRS who are simply being strangled by bureaucracy. Okay? Sign into your account. That is where the original button was. And now they moved it to the upper right. Login. Sign in. 100 days to fix that. Sorry. We're finding this out. California, New York, Massachusetts accounted for most of these improper claims. $305 million in unemployment benefits. Additionally, California accounted for 68% of the unemployment benefits paid to parolees identified by the CBP on the terrorist watch list. Initial survey of unemployment insurance claims since 2020 revealed that 24.5 thousand people over 115 years old claimed $59 million in benefits. 28,000 people between 1 and 5 claimed $254 million in benefits. 9,700 people with birth dates over 15 years in the future claimed $69 million in benefits. In one case, someone with a birthday in 2154 claimed $41,000. That's how crazy this whole thing is. Here is Andre Karpathy. He's on Elon's management, talking about Elon's management style. If you have a big person who's also really smart and has a big hammer, things move quickly.
That way, Elon is a very efficient warrior in the fight against entropy in organizations. He hates meetings. He keeps telling people to skip meetings if they're not useful. He basically runs the world's biggest startups, I would say. Tesla actually is multiple startups. I think it's better to look at it that way. And yeah, he's a very good intuition for streamlining processes, making everything efficient. Best part is no part, simplifying, focusing, and just kind of removing barriers, moving very quickly, making big moves. All of this is very startup-y sort of seeming things, but at scale. I do think he needs someone in a powerful position with a big hammer like Elon, who's like the cheerleader for that idea and ruthlessly pursues it. If no one has a big enough hammer, everything turns into committees, democracy within the company, process, talking to stakeholders, decision-making, just everything just crumbles. If you have a big person who's also really smart and has a big hammer, things move quickly.
And that's what we're seeing with DOGE. Here's a contract update. Agencies terminated 180 wasteful contracts with a ceiling value of $3.3 billion, savings of $2.6 billion, including $85,000 EPA contract for live plant maintenance services. The internal EPA team will water them going forward. $85,000 to water plants. I mean, couldn't just the secretary just water the plant that day in each little corner of the building? Well, that's what it's going to be like moving forward. And a $265,000 HHS contract for social media monitoring, subscription training, and platform setup. $265,000 to help people sign up for social media. Here is Greg Gutfeld going to town on that IRS sign-in button. Let's listen.
There's more efforts.
To the monologue. This week, DOGE perfectly exposed government bureaucracy in a nutshell. While working on the IRS website, DOGE noticed the site's login button wasn't in the top right, like most websites. It's a small thing, but DOGE noted it was weirdly placed in the middle of the page. So DOGE wanted to move it to the right spot. But an IRS engineer said the soonest they could do that was July 21st, over 100 days from now. So what did DOGE do? They stepped in and fixed it in 70 minutes. Here's how it looks now. See, there it is. They moved it from the middle to the top. It's a small thing, yeah, but the government would have needed 100 days to do it. To go from there to there. So imagine how long it takes for them to do stuff that actually requires more effort. This is how the government works. Hey, Steve, can we change the website a little? No problem, Joe. I'll have to submit a work order for that, which requires approval from the boss, and then we'll circle back at the monthly meeting for the next round of approvals. Then we'll hire a contractor to hire a subcontractor that will hire a teenager to make the change. Total cost to John Q. taxpayer, $60 billion. But hyperventilated. But when it's no longer on the taxpayer's dime, it gets done in minutes. See, this is why you need Elon and DOGE. A government website shouldn't be harder than translating Jasmine Crockett into English. And this week, DOGE uncovered millions of taxpayer dollars of unemployment insurance claims for people who haven't been born yet, over the age of 115, and even between the ages of 1 and 5.
Oh, my goodness, man. Here we have more. Great work by the Department of Veterans Affairs canceling an unreasonably priced multi-year $15.3 million service contract for salary survey data and analysis. The service was replaced at market price of $5,000 a year versus the contracted $3.9 million a year, saving $11.1 million over the life of the contract. And here we have on the FBI and IRS joining the investigation into the missing $24 billion from California's homeless funding.
Last year, Republican MAGA-aligned United States Attorney here in Los Angeles, Bill Asale, he just launched a federal probe investigating exactly where California's homeless dollars are going. The FBI and IRS are going to assist. Asale estimates $24 billion in homeless funding statewide over the past 5 years, much of that spent here in Southern California.
We will get to the bottom of it, and if we find that any federal laws are violated, we will arrest and prosecute those individuals involved.
Governor Gavin Newsom and the chair of the LA County Supervisors tell Fox they welcome Asale's investigation. However, LA Mayor Karen Bass, who says homeless numbers dropped by 10% last year, she says she doesn't want the investigation to be, quote, a fishing expedition. Republican.
Okay, so the efficiency contrast is damning. When DOGE engineers wanted to move a login button on the IRS website, contractors claimed it would take over 100 days. Elon's team did it in 70 minutes. Not days, minutes. This reveals the fundamental lie at the heart of bureaucratic government, that inefficiency is inevitable rather than cultivated. The waste isn't a bug, it is a feature. The delays aren't accidents, as they are the business model. This forces every American to ask and drop a comment on this. If moving a button takes 100 days, 70 minutes in real time, how many other impossible problems could be solved immediately with proper leadership? And more importantly, how many billions of your tax dollars are being deliberately wasted to feed this corrupt system? And show your support for the DOGE team by going to our merch shop and joining the MAGA Avengers featuring Elon Musk at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com.